So we are sitting here waiting, deciding whether we should take on the Taskmaster. I would say yeah. Let me go ahead and heal him to full health before he does that. Too late now. You can see his life is going down fairly quickly. Not too bad. I'm trying not to overheal him. I don't want to get aggro. Let's see. Okay, they're taking the life down on the Taskmaster as well. Give it a second. His life's not going down too fast anymore. 82% on the Taskmaster. Master. I don't know why I always mispronounce that guy's name. Oh, great. An ad. That might throw things out of whack here if we can. Forgot to put on my buttons. To know what my power is during the fight. I'm not quite sure what the power is on. Okay, we got this. We'll be fine. Come on, guys. I don't know what JoJo's doing. There we go. Got another ad too. Got to be careful over here. You do got a lot of roamers, but for the most part, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. If you're able to take on the named anyways, these guys should be, you know, pretty much a pushover. There we go. We got the wizard almost here, and I'll show you what his loot is in a second. In fact, let me do that real quick. Go ahead and link it all. Hit enter. Now I can show you. So you got one-handed slashing. It's a leather whip, 5 damage, 30 delay. You also have weight is 5, which is pretty heavy for a whip. I mean, that's a lot of weight. Size is medium. It's for a warrior, paladin, ranger, shadow knight, bard, and rogue. Races is all. And then you got an earring, brass earring, slot ear. AC is 2. Weight is 0.1, size is tiny, and class and race is for all. So that's kind of nice. It's not too terribly bad. It's probably the first earring you're gonna get. There's not a lot of earring drops at this level. As far as the primary weapon goes, I mean, one-handed slashing. You know, if your class uses that, then go for it. You know, especially if it's better than what you have. But chances are that's not going to be a great weapon for you. So many people are running around just giving out stuff to people. Anyone taking Lego bracers or brass earrings? I would say go for it. Let's see, there he is. So got our wizard. Toss him a heal real quick. Nice. So, let's see what level. Even. So he's level 9 as well. This is going to be a great group. Almost everybody here is at least level 9. Let me see. I don't know about the shaman. She's actually above level 9. No, not that one. Get a better spot so you guys can actually see something. Again, guys, if you like third person versus first person, let me know. I tend to do third person simply because it allows me to see more of the area without getting attacked from like things behind me and things of that sort. So, but if you guys want to see it this way instead, you're welcome. We'll be more than happy to do that for a little while and just show you. Sometimes you can get a better picture or get more in the picture this way. And as the cleric, you really don't actually have to see around you if you have a decent group with you. Your tank going to be taking care of that, so I'll go ahead and leave it like this for a while for those of you who want to see it. Toss this guy a heal. Thankfully our guys are pretty either geared out or something, because they're not really taking hits anywhere near as bad as some of the other tanks that I've grouped with in the past, and we don't even really have a tank, you know, pure class or anything like that. We're using a rogue as our tank, so the fact that he can take these hits this well means he has some really nice armor on. Anytime I accidentally destroyed the brass earring, forgot to check first. Nice. Giving it back to you. Can't wear it. Well, that sucks that he destroyed the earring. I would have just left it on the corpse if nobody needed it. Or even better yet, if you're in a zone, you kill the name so many times that he drops the common, whatever it is, and nobody in your group needs it, and you're not able to loot it because it's you know, a lore item or something like that that you can only have one of. Then go ahead and do a shout out or an OOC in your zone and say, hey, does anybody want this? If you can make your way down here without training us, keep that in mind. You want to put that in there because some people think that, oh, there's a group down there, I can bring mobs with me. Say, if you can make your way down here without training us, it's all yours. I've been in groups where you'll say that, and people will, you know, some people are just really, really mean, or just very, very careless, and they'll come running, click on the corpse, grab whatever it is because it's been the amount of time that it needs to be for anybody to loot it. And then meanwhile, you got 15 mobs on their butt, and they're gonna die. They know they're gonna die, but they don't care as long as they get that loot. You know, that's the big thing to them, is they've been dying to get that piece of armor, or that piece of you know, or that weapon, or whatever it is. And so they're willing to sacrifice you to get it, especially if you do a shout out and let people know that it's already sitting there. Unfortunately, there's really no way to stop that. That's just gonna happen if you're nice enough. You know, when you open yourself up to do things for other people, sometimes bad things happen. Sometimes you have people who will take advantage of that and just really, you know, mess you over when it comes to stuff. So I tend to try to help people out whenever I can, but to be a little cautious when I do, simply because I have been burned so many times doing that kind of thing. Where is he at? Why can't I heal him? And it may look kind of bad. You may get very used to having everybody full life when you're low level, and that means a lot to you to have everybody completely 100%. At higher levels, though, you need to kind of pull away from that, because it may not be, you know, mana efficient to do that. You're going to have spells, like I said before, and that's why you usually have a light heal, a medium-sized heal, and then a big heal. Because at later levels, you may have a caster who's at 80%. Well, how do you heal a caster at 80% if you know it's going to do 60% of his life in one heal? You know, you may just wait until he takes a little bit more damage. Or if you're running somewhat low on power, or if you don't have that much power to go with, not healing him at all. I mean, there's no real rush to heal him because he's not a tank. He'll take hits, yeah, but it's very rare that he does so. And chances are his health will go up naturally just with his normal regen if he sits there long enough without taking any more damage. And for the most part, that's exactly what will happen. He's not likely to get hit again. And if his life keeps going down and you don't heal him, if he gets down to like 50% and you still haven't healed him, he'll get the hint that, hey, pull back, stop, you know, blasting it so much, stop getting the aggro, you know, and just kind of relax a little bit, and that will let his power go up as well, because some people just need that excuse. Make sure to gang up on oracles first. Yeah, that's a definite tip right there. If oracles or in the mix that you're attacking right over here. If you guys want to watch a really cool video, I did one the other day that had level 60 cleric buffs with level 60 enchanter buffs. A couple guys that came in here and was just buffing up everybody in the zone, and our whole group had that. And yet, even with those on, we had close to 1,000 more hit points than we normally did. Even with all that on, the oracles just really kicked the crap out of us because, you know, they hit for so hard. So if you can avoid those guys altogether, especially if you're soloing in here, definitely do that, because unless you can kill them quickly, you're going to take so much damage, far more than any of the other classes. And that's something I touched on in some of my earlier videos, is that certain mobs are easier to fight than other ones. And so you may get the same amount of experience off of both, but people will completely and totally avoid the other ones. I remember over, I can't even remember the name of the zone now. It's over like by the Burning Woods. There was these big giant Werven dragon type creatures, and they had so much hit points on them, so many that the fight was literally like half an hour long if you're soloing it by yourself. Versus if you fought some of the other creatures in that zone, you could kill it at like maybe a 5-minute fight at that. So most of the time you'll see those guys up because nobody wanted to kill them. It's like, why would you spend, you know, 4 times or 5 times or 6 times as long on a mob if you could just take on the easier one right next to it and get the same amount of experience, if not more sometimes. So you kind of have to learn that with every zone. It's a little different here and there. You also want to keep an eye on the resist. You know, certain mobs will have a high resist to certain spells. And if you're like a cleric, you get a lot of spells versus undead, because you're supposed to be like this big, you know, righteous, you know, almost, you know, the personification of the good side, you know, almost. And so you'll get all these spells or direct damage spells that only go off on the undead creatures. And so if you can find a zone like Unrest or something like that where those damage spells can really take effect, you could be really, really useful as, you know, DPS for once. I mean, that's super rare that you're able to even come close to being, you know, useful in that regard. But over an Unrest, I've seen it, you know, a cleric can do rather well as a secondary class. You know, you'll have one healer, somebody else, like the druid, and then you'll have the cleric sitting there doing their direct damage spells, because it's very mana efficient. I believe, you know, Smite does like 90, it takes like 90 mana to do it, or it does 90 damage or something like that, and it's just not very cost efficient on the power, versus the undead spell, which I believe does even more damage and uses like 1/3 the amount of power. So you can kind of see that you would be able to really just out-damage pretty much everybody in your group and use almost no power to do it, because you have that kind of spell. It's about 10%. Let me give him another heal. Now I'm completely out of mana. And I probably should say, you know, out of mana now, but, you know, it's not that big of a deal. 10% is pretty quick. You can see it's already going back up, simply because I have meditation now. Meditation makes such a huge difference compared to when you don't have it. Okay, nap time. Let me toss him another heal. And the other reason I think we even went down this far in our power is simply because we got a couple ads here and there. And usually, as I said before, this isn't a game where you try to pull 15, 16 creatures at one time and then blast them all down real quick. This is one that you prefer to get one at a time. And if we had gotten, say, you know, 5 kills, one after the other, after the other, after the other, we would probably have used, say, maybe, you know, 20 to 30% of our power in that fight, you know, collectively, versus getting all 3 or 4 of those creatures at once. Instead of using 30% of our power, we'd probably go through 100% of our power. That's the difference between getting one at a time. It may seem like things are slower and things are so easy here, but that's because you have a good pooler. The pooler pulling one at a time makes things seem so much easier, versus somebody who's not familiar with the zone, who may be pulling, you know, a whole room at one time, 3, 4 mobs at one time, and because the tank really is getting hit by 4 creatures that you're only doing damage to one at a time, that's just extra damage and therefore extra power taken away from the healer because you're taking on so many creatures at the same time. And you also have people who are direct damage casters who see this going on and they're like, okay, I gotta blast these down really quickly so that we don't all die. And so they go through their power a lot quicker. And then you have people who are stealing aggro away from the tank because it's very hard for the tank to keep aggro on 4 creatures at the same time unless he's switching targets. He has to switch targets to taunt them so that you healing or you doing area effects doesn't steal aggro. Because if it's stealing aggro, then you're not able to sit down and meditate as you would be able to do if you're just taking on 1 creature at a time. So there's a lot of advantages to having a nice pooler, a really good pooler, who can just bring you one single, mob. But then at the same time, I've been in groups that are so good and kill so quickly that bringing 4 or 5 mobs at the same time is the ideal choice for the pooler because, instead of sitting there healing and fighting the mob like a normal group would, the mob just dies, in like half a second, 2 seconds or something like that. So unless you have 4 or 5 kills, it just seems like the moment you got in the room, you could literally not even stop. You could run into the door, do a circle around the room, and on your way out the door, the mob is dead. That's how fast some of these groups can kill if you have the right combination and the group of people who know how to play their class and have really, really good armor and things of that sort. So you just have to be willing to change to the situation, be willing to adapt to pretty much the people around you. That's why people, become friends and really is Wall Group more interesting because it seems they left. Well, they get more pools. So they have more pools, like I've mentioned several times in some of my earlier videos. They have a lot more mobs around them, but there's no name there. So it's really, again, up to you whether you want loot. If the named in that area has something you really, really, really want to get, or your group really, really wants to get, or what are you guys after? Are you after more experience than loot? Then go to the place that has more experience, because usually you have to pick. Later on, there are some camps that do both. In Seb, I remember there was one area that actually has 4 names in a small little room, or it's not a small room, it's a big, like antechamber room, and then off on the left side there's another 2 little tiny rooms, and on the right side there's another 2 rooms, and there's a name to each one of those rooms. And in that big antechamber room there's a whole bunch of mobs that spawn and things of that sort. The Taskmaster. Master, there we go. But it's not exactly a common occurrence that you're going to get. That's the only place that I know that has that many names in such a small proximity, and that many mobs in such a small proximity with the names included. So that's incredibly rare to get that, but it's very cool because if that place isn't overcamped, sometimes it is. Sometimes a group will show up and take each one of those rooms because the place is so overcamped, there's nowhere else for you to go. But for the most part, groups tend to see, oh, there's somebody already there, I'll go ahead and leave it alone. We won't go in. And, because everybody wants that for themselves. They would love to be able to get that group with the 4 names and all those kills and have the group able to actually take advantage of it. So when they see somebody else doing that, they're like, well, I don't want to step on their toes, because when it happens to me, eventually, if it ever happens to me, I wouldn't want some other group coming in either. But it does happen. They do get overcamped sometimes, but that is a great place to be. You get some really good loot, which if you don't need any of the items, is at least good platinum that you can sell them for, because you have access to so many drops coming down. And usually in a place like that, yeah, nice having all these healers. Usually in a place like that, everybody within an hour or so will have at least a couple of items. Because you're going to have those people who need the item, which is fine, but you're going to have so many things dropping because it's four names like every 20 or 30 minutes. So everybody in the group should at least get something occasionally. You don't want to... I understand that some people were just so under-equipped that they're going to be like, I need that, I need that, I need that, I need that. But if it comes down to it, you just be like, okay, okay, we're going to be here for a while. You won one, let everybody else have a chance at winning one. Even if you need it, just let everybody have a chance at winning one. So go ahead and random. And in those situations, like I said, everybody can earn a decent amount of platinum. They can also earn quite a bit of experience. Unfortunately, again, it's one of those areas, like I was mentioning earlier, the downsides to moving if people aren't familiar with the zone. And some people were just very, very slow at moving, because it's usually the casters and stuff who don't move that often, who are usually in the back. You're like, okay, let's go to the next room, because the pooler is always moving, so he is quick on the ball, and he is often forgetful just how, I don't want to say ignorant of the zone people are, but they are just unfamiliar with it. And so when you're moving from one room to another room to another room to another room, in the beginning, we got a pipe here. In the beginning of the group getting their rhythm going, there will be somebody who just doesn't know that after the end of the fight, you don't have to say anything. You just automatically get up and move to the next one. Sit there, wait for the spawn, move to the next room, the next one, and so on. So somebody will always get left behind in the beginning, and that sucks. It just, yeah, we're ready. I'm at 90%, so I didn't say hail. Wonder why I did hail when I did this one. Ah, there you go. G. That's what I get for making my hotkeys in the dark. So we're probably going to go ahead and end the episode here, guys. If you like these videos, I appreciate you guys taking a few seconds and hitting the like button. Also, if you like all these videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe one as well. It definitely helps improve my channel. The higher the rating I get, the more videos I am able to do. And if you guys have any comments down below, you guys want to see certain things that I'm not showing you, or if you guys just want to see more of the stuff that I'm already showing you, go ahead and put that down below as well, and I'll make sure to make those videos for you. Again, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.